Flipping through the pages of my old journals, with every turn another memory, and dusty words bring pictures to my mind. I see the marks of the passage of time.
Hello, and welcome to the 12th episode of Journaling Through the Years. This is a series that I started on this channel where I look at all the journals I've written in since I was old enough to hold a pencil, and I read through them and I look at them and I talk about them. And this is the first time in years that I've looked at these journals, if at all, since I wrote them. So we have been going through my high school journal. Wait for it. There it is! And we're almost done. We're going to finish today. But don't worry, I have many more to come. So we'll be here for a while. And then also, yes, specifically, I have a lot more of the high school emo journals left before we get to my roaring 20s and onwards. So we got a ways. We got a lot to unpack. So we're going to start with something that was written on June 17th. And let me take a sip of coffee. I yawn in sleepiness. My brain is a mesh. It's a mesh. It's not a mess, but it's a mesh. I wrote M-E-S-H. Like a mesh wire or something. I'll start again. I yawn in sleepiness. My brain is a mesh, and I cannot seem to think straight. Visions come to me of how I want my night to reveal itself. I become excited, truly excited for the first time in days. Tonight, here with my friend, she bends over her notebook, pouring thoughts out on paper. I sit here thinking of stories faster than I can write them all down. No one can live without friends. Now that is really sweet, and it took a different turn because I thought I'm tired, and then all of a sudden I'm writing these stories with my friend. I'm excited about the thing, so I'm going from being very tired, and then the first time I'm excited in days, so that felt almost like I had been depressed, and then I was becoming manic, and then it went to this sweet thing about me and a friend, and I'm not sure who this. I have an idea who this friend might be. Doesn't really matter. And it was a friend in high school that we used to write stories together, and we had journals, and I have some of her poems in here that I haven't read. But anyways, and I'm reading that, and I'm going, and it's just an interesting little moment where I was tired, and then all of a sudden, and my brain is a mesh, and I can't think straight, and then I'm excited, and that seems like mania, and then the fact that my stories can't come out fast enough seems very manic itself, and the sweet moment is living and writing stories with a friend, which is a happy memory. Okay, same moment, probably in the same writing session. We have June 17th. After a while, we decide to stop, get out of the car, and feel the cool night air against our flesh. He lights a cigarette, and the cigarette is C-I-G-E-R-E-T-T-E. That's how I spelled cigarette. And tries to peer through the dark into my eyes to see my deepest secrets and the answer to the deceitful lies. And then I have something pointed up, and I don't know what that is. The deceitful lies. I try to focus on other things because I don't want my gaze to rest too long on him. Something so extraordinary might happen, so terrible that I wouldn't be able to control myself. I may fall in love. Oh, now I had not really fallen in love at this point. I mean, I'd had boyfriends, and they'd broken up with me, and it was sad and it hurt. And I guess that is a form of love, that infatuation love that you have when you first have a boyfriend or a girlfriend when you're younger, and then it doesn't work out after like a month or a week, and there is that feeling of rejection, and it is love. Infatuation is a form of love. It's a start of love. There's all these different facets of love, and that's a type of love, right? And I learned from it. But it's interesting to me that I'm writing this story, and as I've looked through this journal, it's all been, I'm writing stories or prose to kind of look as if it's another person, but it's my subconscious coming out. And I was afraid of love because I'd been hurt. Now I look back on that, seems silly. It seems silly to think of the boyfriends I'd had, the relationships I'd had, that you know, they're not to the extent of the relationships I've had now. But I was afraid of love, and I've been thinking that a lot about that idea that most of my life I've been afraid of love. I've been keeping people at arm's length for whatever reason. I had a dream last week about a summer camp that I went to when I was in high school. I was a camp counselor, and I had some friends there. And, you know, at the time I remember looking back that it was like such a big monumental thing in my life, and it was. But it was really, I only went there for 3 summers for 2 weeks at a time. And then we would have some, we would have some meetups during the year at someone's house for like a night or a weekend. There was something right after Thanksgiving that was called the Pacific Regional Conference, the PRC, and I would see a lot of my friends there. But anyways, I had a dream about camp, and every once in a while I dream about camp, and I always wake up feeling just this warmth in my heart, and it's really good memory the rest of the day. And it got me thinking about those friends, and I was able to reach out and find one, and we started talking a little bit. We've been busy, haven't had a chance to really go into it. But I was thinking about how I was thinking back about my history with them from high school and camp, and then through college, and, you know, reconnecting throughout the years, and how I was always sort of keeping them at arm's length. I never let them get close, and yet they were showing me they loved me. And I'm not saying romantically, I'm just saying they were showing me they loved me. And I'm seeing that now, how much love was given to me throughout these years that I was not able to receive because I was afraid of it. And yet it was always available, and it never left. And that, to me, is really profound, and something that I'm sitting with right now and taking in, and just feeling the sense of gratitude, because I don't feel that I deserve it. I never have. And I have done some horrible things due to my illness, due to my PTSD and such, and had some crazy episodes of anger that have come out, and just done some other stuff that I'm ashamed of. And yet I still have these people that love me and have stood the test of time and distance, that we may go into different facets and not see each other. Even if we see each other on Facebook, we may not always talk, but then we come back together, and they love me. They still love me. So I must have done something good in this world if I have these friends that have stood the test of time and distance, and they still love me. And seen me through some of the most ugliest times of my life, and have just still loved me. I'm just beyond grateful now that I've had the time to sit and look at myself throughout all these years, and look at it in a new perspective, and realize and take that in, and truly find that healing. So moving right along, we are now on June 22nd and 1995, and something fell on the ground, and I will figure that out later. So, June 22nd, 1995. Slowly, I begin picking up my old clothes, folding them and putting them into brown paper bags to be given away. I am reminded of summer days and nights just like now that have long passed. I think about the old boyfriends I had and knew, what we did and all we shared. I remember wearing these clothes at a time when I was so very different and younger. Not just by age. I could never have dreamed how my life could have changed as much as it has, or how anyone else's life has changed. it seemed like with the changes of my life, it affected everyone else, as well as their changes affecting me. People learn from each other. People are affected by people, and people must live amongst each other in order to survive. I feel as if by folding these clothes away, I am folding up my old memories and finally letting go, not to miss, but to laugh over and remember always. I can relate to this, what she's saying, and it's interesting because I believe this, and it's as if in 1995 was the origin of when I started to come to this realization. So that's interesting it's like I've often said this now and throughout my life, but reading this, it's as if this younger side of me, this 15-year-old self, is writing it for the first time. The other thing that stuck out to me is people must live amongst each other in order to survive. And I agree with that, but there was another part of me who is dealing with the realization that I have relationship addictions, that it's a form of codependency that is specifically about relationship addictions, that is looking to people as a drug to hide, to be rescued by other people in a sense. And so there's an element of that. But I mean, yes, we need people. We need relationship. We need to be connected to other people. We really cannot be on our own. It's not healthy for us ultimately to be on our own forever, I don't think. However, there is that balance of I don't need you. You know, I'm not going to make you be my savior or be my rescuer. I have to do that for myself in order for it to be a healthy relationship. So that's something. And I gotta see what this is. It says, it's written on this kind of paper. I don't know. And it says, pinky promise, thumb tug, pointer pull, flip off friends, ring master. Oh, okay. So I was like, pinky promise, thumb. So pinky promise, like you do a pinky, and then a thumb tug where you tug, and then a pointer pull, and then a flip off friends, and we know what that one is, and then a ring master. I don't know. So it's the other names instead of pinky promise, what the others are. I guess I was trying to make a thing. I don't think it worked out very well. Maybe you can make it happen. Now I share it with you. Okay. And I did want to point out that, 1995 was during my first break of depression, and I have some numbers here, and one is Sonoma County Mental Health, and I had a bunch of numbers for that. I don't remember if I ever called or what I did, but I have those numbers. Santa Rosa Institute, I don't know what that is. But. What is love? What is love? Doesn't have a date. What is love? So tell me, what is love? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see what my 15-year-old self says. What is love? So many people have so many definitions of love. I don't think it is quite possible to define love and put it in a little box for rainy days. Love can conquer all, but cannot be conquered. Ooh, that's wise. Everywhere I go, love is there. Whether it's a walk in the park, a piece of cake, as harsh as a slap across the face, or a broken heart. What? As harsh as a slap across the face? Okay. Or a broken heart. Love comes from within myself and is uncontrollable. Love is part of my life as well as all around me. I cannot rid my life of love. Life would be a dreary, lonely, empty journey if love was not a part. So I fill my heart up with this love, applying it to all I do. Love comes to me, I know. Sometimes quickly blowing over me as a gentle breeze, then moving itself on and blowing over. Sometimes staying forever, seeming to blanketing me in a warm hold, this love so peaceful and still, like a calm and moonlit summer night in late autumn at times. Other times changing its way, like a violent summer thunderstorm beating against my flesh and tearing at my heart. Love has a vast society of lovers, and it is not judgmental. A tear rolling down one's face is love. My black cat pushing herself against my leg is love. A friend running to say hello or hugging to say goodbye is love. A first kiss shared by those in love is love. Holding a hand, but letting go, is love. You, dear one, can be all these, wrapped up into a bundle of joy. You, my friend, are love. I like that one. Some things that I want to point out, and then I find it very interesting that the first, what I read today, was about not being able to control myself and falling in love with this guy. And also we were writing about the manic journal entry. But we end with this idea of what is love. And this whole time I've been talking about being afraid of love, but then having all these people throughout my life that have been showing me love in these small ways, and I could look back, and even when I didn't see it, it was there. Or I thought it was something else, and so I was running from that something else, but it was still there. Love. And, it's like I said here, it's indefinable. And in this, there's two things I want to point out, is that I think my 15-year-old brain was thinking of love still in a very, romantic husband and wife, however you want to look at that, that's what I wanted, to get married, to fall in love, to have the happily ever after, the Hollywood Disney movie love story. But at the same time, I also am realizing this is a girl that in a very few short years, when she goes into college, she's going to be confronted with some people that are Christian, that are going to take her to a Christian fundamentalist church, and she's going to become born again. And this is a girl who, while she was at said camp, they had these little pamphlets for these, the Raggers Creed. The Raggers Creed. I have them on my wall. If you have come to my house, you have seen them in my office. There's the blue rag, the brown rag, the red rag, and you're like, I don't know what those are. Well, I'll tell you. The blue rag is for loyalty, the brown rag is for community, and the red rag is for leadership. This is a lot about camp today. Heavy on the camp. And we would have to do these rituals late at night, and you would be blindfolded, and you had somebody that was guiding you, and you had to answer certain questions and repeat certain poems and prose. And one of those prose for the blue rag specifically, I believe, was 1 Corinthians 13:4, the famous love chapter, the famous love is this, love is that. And I remember I didn't even know what 1 Corinthians was, or I'd never read the Bible at the time, and that was really that got me. And I think that this has been heavily influenced by that. And a side note, it is not creepy at all what I just told you about the Raggers Creed and being led through the woods and blindfolded, and then being walked out into a clearing and there's candles everywhere, and and it's just not creepy. No, not a weird cult thing. It was YMCA Camp Ravencliff. It's Y Camp. So, yeah, I think. But I also want to point out what made me really smile is that even though I was thinking in my head about, I wanted this romantic love, was talking about certain areas. Love is a vast society of lovers and is not judgmental. I like that. Love has a vast society of lovers. That's a very cool description. And I like my black cat pushing herself against my leg is love. Because I did have a black cat when I was growing up. From the time I was in 4th grade until I was in college, and her name was Jamocha. And That's just a sweet memory to remember Jamocha, because that was love. Okay, that's it. We have finished this. Next week, we will dive into another one of my crazy emo journals. Let me know what you think about what I shared in the comment section below, and share it out if you choose to, if you feel it would be of value to anyone else. And thanks for watching. Bye.
I can't get away from love. If I went to the edge of the earth, you'd follow me. I can't get away from love. If I go up to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. I can't get away from love.